a question point.
Live, the Easter season is upon us, and that means one thing: Easter football is back, and we're playing today slightly earlier than normal in the football schedule, but we're going to be bringing you all the action here nonetheless. I'm Ollie Buck, and I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by former Orient defender Joe Widdowson and journalist Elliot Byrne. It's an interesting one today. We're not quite safe yet, Joe. 3 points today against a team just below us could, I don't want to jinx it, but could maybe, finish off the season.
Yeah, as you said, not quite, mathematically safe, but I think, we can kind of agree that we're pretty much there. I think after, stringing together that run of 4 wins in a row, really kind of helped propel us, out of those dangerous parts of the, near the bottom of the table. So I think, it'd be good to obviously, go there tonight with a positive mindset. Form has been really good. Confidence should be high amongst the group, and, hopefully go there and get a good result to really cement it, and look forward to next season.
Absolutely, and whilst you look at the table and you go, well, 3 points, admittedly with some game in hands, could lift us up as high as 12. We're going to probably looking at it in the same vein and going, we need to get ourselves further away. It'll probably be a bit of a clash tonight.
Yeah, very much so. You can't look at the table too much when it comes to these fixtures, because a team like Wigan are going to be fighting for everything. And we can't get ahead of ourselves. We're not out the woods yet, so it'll be an opportunity to open the gap a little bit further against a team that are a few places below us. But we can't take any of Wigan's performances for granted. We've got to go there expecting a team that are going to want to win and going to work really hard to try and decrease the gap a little bit.
Absolutely. And Gary Caldwell as well. We'll come on to Wigan in detail, but Gary Caldwell, they've had a bit of a lift since then. This is kind of their crunch time of the season. Yeah,
very much so. And he's obviously an experienced manager at this level, and that's a club that is close to his heart. So I'm sure it was a lift, him going back in there. And they're a big team at this level in this league, and they've got some really talented players in there. Joe Taylor's on absolute fire up top. So we can't take them for granted. It's going to be a tough one.
We'll come on to that and more later. But Joey, looking at Orient then in the last 5 games, 4 wins, 1 draw, a couple of clean sheets recently. It's really positive signs.
It is, and I think that kind of the month of January, and after all those changes sort of around that time during the transfer window, we were kind of waiting, hoping and waiting to see kind of things click into gear and the results start coming. And I think that run's really kind of shown that this team's starting to gel now. Some of the new signings are really settling in and starting to, we're starting to see just how good players they are. Obviously, they've had more time on the training pitch, got to know each other well, building those relationships, got to know how Richie wants them to play, and what's expected of them, and that's really come to fruition. So it's been great to see, that upturn in results and also performances as well. I think they've actually played really well over the last few games.
And from your perspective, obviously having been part of that promotion-winning team out of the National League, I look back on that period, and there was that few months before the end of that first season in the National League, and we managed to build some momentum and get a few results together. And the squad didn't do much in terms of changing it drastically over that summer. Imagine, I know the overall task is that we can't take our eye off the ball, that we've got to make sure we stay up. Yeah. But it's a really good opportunity to put some momentum going into next season as well, right?
Massively, yeah. And I think that word there, momentum, is so important, because the run of form was really wretched, wasn't it, up to a turn of the year? But it's about getting any sort of result, however you can. Once you get that first win, and then second win, then something starts building, and then all of a sudden confidence returns, and it just plays a huge part in it. And now you're seeing, I think, a team where they're in a good vein of form, they're in a good place mentally. They trust one another. They've kind of set that expectation of performance level, and then hopefully they can continue this through to the end of the season and really build something going into next season.
Well, we all know what happened the season after, don't we? That was a special season. We'll see what next one brings. But hey, let's move on now. There's going to be no Richie Wellens in the dugout tonight as he's recovering from a medical procedure. So Richie, if you're watching from home, we hope you get well very soon. So it's Paul Terry who will be in the dugout. So let's hear from him now and get his pre-match thoughts.
PT, preparing to face Wigan on Thursday night. How are we feeling ahead of it?
Yeah, good. It's been a good few weeks for us now. Do you know what I mean? With results-wise and picking up some more points, so everything's good. Mood in the camp's good. We're ready to go again Thursday.
We spoke earlier to Haps, and he said the mood, although naturally people are a bit happier now we're winning, the mood hasn't changed massively. Like, how important, going back a few weeks, was maintaining the good spirits?
Yeah, I think we've always tried to do that. Do you know what I mean? With results, we never try not to get too high with the wins and too low with the losses. You know, we know we've got a good squad, a good team of players. You know, it was just getting the best out of them and then believing in themselves a little bit more, which they obviously are now. And I think that's showing on the pitch with the results that have come and the performances we're putting in.
Is it noticeable for you as coaching staff, like a training session's a bit different now that we've got a few wins behind us?
Yeah, there's always you know what I mean, they always get a little bit more, the level goes up a little bit, you know, once you've had a few wins and people start enjoying training a bit more rather than thinking, you know, I don't want to make a mistake, I don't want to do this, you know. People are just free. We've tried to take that away from them and just say, go and play free, go and play with enjoyment, play with a smile on your face and play what you see, you know, and I think they've took it on board and done really well with it.
And we're 2 clean sheets in a row now. How pleasing has that been from the point of view of the staff?
It's good because it always gives you a base to build from. You know, if you're keeping a clean sheet and then we just know, like with one chance, we can go and win a game then, you know. I know Dom had one on Saturday, you know, but obviously he didn't take it, but he's been unbelievable in front of goal this year. But, you know, clean sheets that give you a base to build from. So it's been pleasing for the last 2 games.
I know we picked up, I mean, Tom James got injured just before Saturday, didn't he? And then Sean went off, but before the game, looking at the bench, you know, the 18 looked incredibly strong, didn't it?
It is strong, and we're getting there now. We're getting a few back, you know what I mean? Iddy coming back's been a big lift to everyone as well, so I wouldn't underestimate that. But like you say, the squad's good, the depth is good, and I think we can look at the bench now and we're bringing on quality for quality, like for like, you know, and there's still people not even in the squad that can add to that as well.
I guess it's more of a problem for the gaffer than for you, but it must make some headaches when you've got all these options coming back now.
Well, it does when you're not getting results, but we've been getting results, so you know sometimes it makes it be, you know, the lads on the pitch have got the shirts and they've got to keep hold of it, so, and that's what they've done. You know, it's to be fair to them, we've won games, they've played well, and you keep the shirt. You play well, you keep the shirt. You know, obviously you have to make some changes at times, but we haven't had to do that recently, and you know, apart from injuries, people that have been playing well, you keep the shirt for the next game.
Wigan have been on a decent run. They lost on Saturday. There's obviously changed manager fairly recently. What can we expect from them?
Yeah, listen, I think Gary's got a good way of playing. You know what I mean? You see it at Exeter, the job he done there. So, and he's carried that on. He's gone into Wigan. He's given them a new lease of life. Got a few results, like you say. You know, and we know it's going to be a tough game. You know, they're down there as well, and they need points. We need points. You know, we ain't thinking we're out of anything as well ourselves. So, we need to go there, impose ourselves on the game, and do what we can do.
And obviously Wigan is the sole focus for now, but then very quickly afterwards it's Huddersfield. Just how important is the Easter weekend, not just for us, for all clubs?
I think it's massive for all clubs. You know, there's 6 points available over the space of 3 or 4 days. You know, so I think it's great. You know, it's like the Christmas period. People moan about games, but I enjoy these parts of the season. You know, Christmas playing a lot of games. At Easter you play these games. Everyone's used to it, and it's good to go and play. The fans get to watch 2 games in a short space of time as well. So it's good. You know, if you can go and pick up 6 points, great. 4 points, you know, 2 points even. You know, but it's a chance back-to-back games where you can go and really put something on the board and lift yourself away from something, or pull yourself away from somewhere else that you need to be.
And just lastly then, how is the squad looking, or is it a bit too early to say?
No, it's looking all right. Like I say, the game's not till Thursday, so we have to just see how people are over the next few days. I don't think Dylan Levitt will make it for Thursday's game, same with Sean Clare. But Michael Craig should be all right, and we've got TJ's back on the grass again tomorrow to see how he is. So we've just got to assess things over the next 24, 48 hours and see how everyone is.
Right, then let's take a look and see how the O's shape up for tonight's clash against the Ticks. Starting in goal for the O's is Will Dennis after back-to-back clean sheets for him. It's a back 3 tonight with Jack Simpson, Dan Happe alongside the captain Will Forrester. Theo Archibald is in the right wing-back position with Morris on the left-hand side of the fence. Azim Abdullahi partners Tyreek Bakinson in midfield. And it's Charlie Wellens and Dimitri Mitchell who play just behind Don Ballard, who leads the line. And on the bench is Killian Cahill Ollie O'Neill, Idris El Mazouni, AJ Matthews, Michael Craig, Caelan Casey and Sonny Perkins. So, I mean, it looks here, Elliot, as a bit of a... I think we've moved to this formation probably because of Tom James's injury, you'd guess, and our lack of any real right back.
Yeah, I would expect so, and obviously, it's a formation that has done well for us on occasion this season, particularly away from home. It's just how, sometimes I think you can look at 3 at the back, 5 at the back, and think defensive by nature, and that's not necessarily how the formation works. If you're aggressive and you play on the front foot, it can be it can give the attacking players license to get forward because they know they've got cover behind. So hopefully we can go out there with the right intention. Dan Happe has done very well in recent weeks when he's come on off the subs bench, so it's a nice reward for him to get back into starting 11. And obviously Will Forrester and Jack Simpson didn't deserve to come out of the team because of 2 clean sheets in a row. So it's I'm sure it's in mind to match up what Wigan do, and it depends. It's all going to be on our players and our intensity and how much we want to go for it.
And that's the thing. I mean, when you look at the wing backs, you've got Theo Archibald, who is, I think when we signed him, as a left winger, so he's at right wing back, and then you've got Morris, who I think he's probably one of our highest goals per minute in recent games, aside from Don Ballard. He's got 2 already from left back, so they're actually 2 fairly forward-thinking players in those positions.
Yeah, they are, and I think what Elliot says is true. I think it all kind of depends on what the approach is and how well we impose that shape on Wigan. Obviously, if we're matching them up, then it might just be a case of who can play the formation better. And I think if we can get those 2 wing backs higher up the pitch, I think the 2 wide centre halves are key. If they can really dominate and release the wing backs to play higher up and get in those offensive positions where we've seen the likes of Morris contributing with goals. I think Theo as well. We know he's a winger sort of by nature, so he'll want to be further up the pitch rather than tracking back and defending. So yeah, I think if we can dominate the ball, hopefully get our wing backs higher up the pitch, get Wellens and Mitchell in good pockets, on the ball in good areas to feed Ballard, then it could be a really good shape for us tonight.
And defensively, 2 clean sheets, Joe. I mean, when you have been leaking goals, how big is it to then keep back-to-back clean sheets, start making those statements, and I guess you get hungry for it? Yeah,
it's huge, and it's so important where the kind of the lineup and personnel have been so disrupted and chopped and changed, pretty much all season long. Whether it's centre halves, goalkeeper, we haven't had that continuity that we've seen in the last couple of years, particularly like last season, a season where we got promoted and stuff. So it's important, it's really important to build that solid foundation at the back where you have that understanding between your centre halves and the goalkeeper, and you just build those relationships. And when you do start keeping the clean sheets, that's when the confidence comes. That's when you find a formula that works, and between you as a back 4, obviously it's the full team involved as well, but particularly that back 4 and goalkeeper, you have that understanding where we know how to defend, we know how each other work, we know how we want to play, whether it's playing through the centre halves, getting the fullbacks involved, and like defending as a unit. Once you have that understanding, it really gives a team that foundation and the confidence to say, like, yeah, we're going to go into games knowing that we're not going to concede a lot of goals. We're going to really restrict the opposition, and it gives the attacking players a bit of confidence as well to know that they can go and win the game.
Let's talk about Dan Happe slotting in there as well, Elliot, because I mean, as you've touched on, he's been used as a substitute recently and impressed, and it's a big opportunity for him today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be very aware that Will Forrester and Jack Simpson have had a really good run in the team and have the performances have been really good while they've been the centre back pairing. So he's had to bide his time, but we're all very, very aware of the qualities that Dan Happe has. He's been at this club for a very long time, and I certainly think a 3 at the back suits him. Because he's obviously good on the ball. He's intelligent, so it allows him to maybe be a little bit more aggressive when he's going for headers. You can see a few clips here. I think it will suit him because he can push forward and go and win headers, knowing that there's cover behind him.
You've I think you've played in a back three with Dan in your time here a few years ago, Joe.
Yeah.
What kind of qualities does he bring to that setup?
Yeah, played a lot of games with Dan in a back three and obviously in a back four as well alongside. I think Dan he's got so many good attributes. I think on his day, you know, when he's really, really at it, I think Dan could play in the Championship. I think he's that good. And I think maybe this little spell that he's had out of the team might have served as a bit of a wake-up call for him because, you know, he's obviously played the majority. He's been a fixture in the team under Richie since he's come in so, you know, we know how good he can be. But I think because he is quite a, you know, relaxed guy, I think, and sometimes I think you need that in football, you know. He's been at the club a long time and this is probably the first spell he's had where he's not been an automatic starter. So hopefully that's giving him the little kick that he needs, you know, to kind of just, you know, knuckle down and think like, right, you know, I really need to, you know, be on my game to get in this team now because, you know, Jack Simpson's been excellent. I think, you know, Forrester's come in and you know, got the armband and, you know, he's done really well. So you know, Dan really has to, you know, make sure he's at it and you know, really, really performing to get in this team because we all know how good he can be. But it's great to see him back. You know, I think we're a better team when Dan's in the team and playing well. Gives us that, you know, that presence in both ends of the pitch. So yeah, hopefully he can have a good game tonight and stay in the team to the end of the season.
Hopefully so. Well, it's a big game for Dan tonight, and we got up with him earlier to get his thoughts ahead of tonight's clash.
Haps, 5 are beaten now. What's the mood like around the place, and has it changed at all across those last 5 games?
Yeah, the mood's been great over the last few weeks. I wouldn't say it's changed a lot. I think the mood has always been fairly decent, but yeah, over the last few weeks, everyone's happy coming into training. Training's been very enjoyable, so long that may continue.
Keeping the spirits high when results haven't been so good, how much do you think that has helped contribute towards this good run then?
Yeah, definitely. We have to see each other every day. So if the mood's always down, it brings the football down, it brings the standards down. So to come into an environment where it's enjoyable every day, I think that helps massively.
And what's been the key to getting those 4 wins and then the 1 draw on Saturday?
Just working hard, sticking together. You know, we went through a really bad patch and we just had to stick together. That's what you don't have to do in football. And in football, I feel like you always come out the other end. You always go through a good spell in the season. I feel like we've hit our stay. I know it's probably a bit too late, but it had to happen, and thankfully it's happened.
And for you, in the last few games, you've been coming off the bench and helping us. I think your time on the pitch is 3 clean sheets in a row, isn't it? If you include second half of Wimbledon,
yeah.
How much have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, obviously as a player, you'd never really want to be sitting on the bench, but I feel like I've waited my time, been patient with it, and I like to help when I do come on the pitch. So to get 3 clean sheets while playing is, I'm buzzing with it. Yeah.
How is it difficult? How difficult is it when you're coming into a game that's already happening rather than from the beginning?
Yeah, it's never ideal coming off the bench as a defender anyway, because you've got to feel your way into the game. It's different to it with an attacker, but I feel like I've done okay with it, and yeah, hopefully I'll get some starts in the upcoming weeks, but I'm happy with what I'm doing at the minute. And
it feels like the defensive unit as a whole, including Will as a goalkeeper, is really strong at the moment.
It's really
Does it
strong
feel like
at the minute. Yeah, it's really strong. And that's why we can't really change a winning team, which I'm fine with. But Will's been a massive difference in goal. You know, he's a real good presence behind us, and I feel like that just feeds confidence into the whole team.
And we're coming into a busy period now with Wigan to come next. How much are you looking forward to that one? And as players, do you look at the Easter weekend where you've got 2 games in quick succession as a period where you can make a big difference?
It's a real good time of the season to pick up maximum points. You know, if we go after Monday and say we pick up 6 points, you're looking at the table thinking we're really comfortable now. So it's a really good time of the season to really kick on and see where we end up.
And what are, so for Wigan and beyond, what are the group talking about? What are the plans for now until the end of the season? What are we hoping to achieve?
Just to finish strongly. We all know collectively that this season hasn't been the best, but if we finish strong, then I feel that puts us in good stead for next season, definitely.
just under 10 minutes to go until kickoff. So of course, don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, then tonight's action is available to stream here on Orient Live. International fans, you can pick up a pass to watch along with us here with all the action, or if you're watching from in the UK, you can pick up an audio pass to listen along with Dave and Matt. But now let's return our attention to the O's. And before we get into the home side, let's talk about going forward, because obviously goals win games. We've got Ballard up top, we've got Dimitri Mitchell in there, and Nazim Abdullah. They look like they've got a new lease of life, and hopefully tonight we're entertained as we kick off this Easter weekend. Yeah,
very much so. I think that there are a few players in that attacking, third of the pitch who have impressed over recent weeks and probably had to bide their time for chances. Azim, Dimitri, even Charlie Wellens over the last few months has probably had to not had the consistent game time he would have liked, and so he's had to be patient, had to try and take his opportunities when they've arisen, and all three of them have done really well in recent weeks. If we can add a few more goals to their game just to supplement Don Ballard, then that would be great. But I'm sure Don will just be appreciative that there are a few informed players behind him.
Absolutely. I mean, Dom's got 7 more games now to add as many to his tally to cement himself at the top of the leaderboard. And seeing what he's done in recent weeks, months, all this season, really, you fully expect him to go and score another 10 in those 7 games. Yeah, absolutely. I think, you look at him playing, he's so hungry, he's so determined. I think his attitude is what really impresses me. Yeah. We've spoken about his ability and his goal scoring, plenty over the course of the season. But, he's just relentless in his drive, his work rate, his pressing, every game. He's so robust. He doesn't miss a minute. He wants to be out there every single game scoring goals. And I think he's really hungry just to keep improving and developing. And no doubt, he'll be as keen to get as many goals and certainly try and finish the season as the top goal scorer in the league.
There was that one game that really stood out for me where he scored, I think it was his second hat-trick of the season. He scored 3 and he's gone through to get his 4th and he's hit the post. And he looked so angry at himself afterwards. And I thought, another player would be just delighted to have 3. But he was so keen to add to his tally. I was really impressed with
his standards are so high.
They are. Right, not long to go now until kick-off, so we're going to turn our attention to the home side shortly after this ad break.
Is lunch at work awesome? If so, tune out now. If not, keep listening. Picture this: chef-made meals from local restaurants brought right into your workplace. No sad sandwiches, no tired menus. By tapping into the local restaurant scene, Fuda powers workplace dining for companies across the U.S., giving teams flavor, convenience, and authenticity. Half of Glassdoor's best places to work have partnered with Fuda. Is your team ready to upgrade its workplace food scene? Find out how at Fuda.com. That's FOODA.com.
You have a choice. You can waste 20, maybe 30% of your media budget, spend millions reaching bots, the wrong people, or no one at all. Or just use 0 to 1. It knows who's ready to buy. It's over 85% accurate. 0 wasted spend. The future of marketing isn't guessing. It's knowing.
So let's take a look and see how Wigan Athletic line up for this evening's clash up at the DW Stadium. Is it still called the DW Stadium? Probably not. Who knows? I should have done that research earlier. Anyway, starting in goal for Caldwell's side. In goal is number 1, Sam Tickle. It's a back 3 for them as well, we believe, with James Carragher, Will Aimson alongside the captain, Jason Kerr, Rafael Rodriguez and Fraser Murray in the wing-back positions with Jensen Weir and Matt Smith in the middle. Callum Wright plays just behind the front 2 of Joe Taylor and Dara Costello. And on the bench is Joseph Hungbo, Lighton Chapman, Caelan Vickers, Kristen Sadie, Callum McManaman, Owen Moxon and Toby Savin. So, I mean, we touched on it earlier, Elliot, but you imagine potentially, yes, it's a right-back issue, but also maybe looking to match up the back 3 of Wigan on the road, just try and look to be solid. Is that what you're expecting tonight from them?
Yeah, I think so. It's amazing that they are where they are in the table, because you look at that squad and it's full of talent. So we can't, underestimate them at all. They've obviously got Joe Taylor, who's one of the most informed strikers in the country at the minute. I think it's 9 in 13 since he arrived in January. So he's someone who's prolific. You know what to expect with Dara Costello up top. He's maybe not had the goal scoring form he would have hoped, but his work ethic's really high. So our defenders are going to have to be alert because he will try and drag them all over the place. And there's some talented defenders there. You know, Aimson, Carragher's an international with Malta. So yeah, we can't underestimate them at all. I imagine we're just trying to match up with them, and that will allow us to put our stamp on the game in terms of our philosophy and our style of play. But we've got to be ready for a battle.
And, you know, they've parted ways with their manager a month or so ago. Gary Caldwell's come in. They are the ones looking kind of in a bit of form. They're going to be looking at tonight, as we said earlier, as tonight is the one to go and get all 3 points, and so we need to be at it. Yeah,
we do. Of course, there's a lot at stake still for them. Obviously, they've come in and had a bit of the new manager bounce, but their players will be, they'll be playing for their futures. They've got a new manager who, will no doubt have his own plans for next season, and these players will want to be a part of that. So, they obviously they need to ensure that they secure their League One status for next season, but also they'll be playing for their next contract at the club.
It's interesting as well. So in this scenario, Joe, I mean, yes, we're the ones maybe slightly higher up in the table, maybe have had the better results ever so slightly of late. Will there be a bit more nerves in that Wigan camp? Are we the ones that need to try and pounce on that?
I don't think nerves. I think at this point of the season, it's more there's things on the line. There may be a bit of nerves, but I think that will be the will to want to win and the need to want to win and get points on the board will be bigger than that. So for them, there's like I've said, there's a lot at stake. They're in decent form themselves. They're at home, and they'll be wanting to go for the win tonight, I think. It's
early days in the Easter weekend, of course, Elliot, but as we said earlier, 3 points would lift us up to 12th tonight before and a ball is kicked elsewhere in the league. That, although it might not last the whole weekend until Monday, but that would be a big it would be a nice thing to see at least.
But doesn't that just go to show how competitive this league is? Because it's been a tough season for a lot of it, and we go on a little run and it suddenly could shoot up to 12th. So it just goes to show that anyone can beat anyone in this division, and that could be the same today. So we just got to make sure we're on it, make sure we're alert, make sure we're approaching the game with the right attitude.
Absolutely. Well, the sides are up and out in Wigan, ready to get this game underway. They're switching sides as well. But let's hear what Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock have to say all about it. Over to you.
Good evening and welcome to the Brick Community Stadium. Matt and I will try and make yourselves heard over what is an incredibly loud tannoy system, Matt.
Yeah, it's definitely loud, isn't it? Big stadium here.